everybody, today we are talking about Delight leadership team meetings and how important they are for the success of your Delight chapter. So let's do this.
First things first, you might be thinking, when is the best time for a leadership team to meet? A lot of people think that a good time to meet is right before your actual Delight meeting, but that's actually not a very good time because it's always going to be rushed and crammed for time. The best time to meet would probably be a separate night of the week, probably a late night weekday. And I know sometimes things will come up and sometimes you're going to want to go to bed early, but if you just pick that time, put it on your calendars, and really commit to it, it will really help your entire Delight chapter.
The second thing that you might be wondering is, why do we even need to have a Delight leadership team meeting? Well, we think it's really important for two reasons. The first being is that this is your time to bond with your leadership team. This is your time for a weekly check-in. Check in on what's going on in one another's lives, what are you dealing with, what are you struggling with, what do you need prayer for, maybe why they haven't been as present in Delight lately. It's just a really fun time to be with each other, get to know each other better, and just invest in relationships with one another. And then the second reason why we think it's important, because this is your time to plan, your time to organize. Maybe it's planning for next month's event, or maybe it's planning for the story this week, but it's your time to come together, think through things, and then if you do that, we promise it makes the whole Delight environment stress-free and just a lot more easygoing, which is better for everybody.
The next thing to do during your Delight meeting is to open up the story. Hopefully everybody had read the story prior to the Delight meeting, and actually everybody needs to read the story prior to the Delight meeting, just because this is what you're going to be talking about and you need to be familiar with the story. So then you just open up conversation, talk about the things that really stood out to you, the things that related most to your life, like I loved when Sue talked about when she found her identity in the Lord.
Oh, and that reminds me, I heard this sermon the other day where the pastor talked about identity and how culture affects it.
That is so good. We need to share that at the Delight meeting.
Well, yes.
This is really just your Bible study time to learn from each other and to learn more about the story. It's really important that every single leader is really familiar with the story, regardless if you're leading or not. So make sure to just jump into the story, talk about what's standing out. This is your Bible study time.
So after you've spent the majority of your meeting talking through the story as a group, before you close out your meeting, you're going to want to pick one person from your leadership team who will lead the discussion that week at your actual Delight meeting. So we suggest picking the person who was most passionate about the story. Maybe they related with it the most, or they've experienced something similar, so they just have a lot of insight to add to the story and the topic. So this person outside of this leadership meeting is going to want to spend some time praying about the story, diving deeper into it, and just studying more on what they can share and talk about. One huge resource that is really helpful that we have is our story outlines that are in our leadership resources page. And each of those outlines kind of just gives a summary of the story and a few key points that you'll want to hit. And they're just helpful for when you're shaping what you're going to be sharing about. But if you go through those 4 easy steps, then I think that you'll have a really successful chapter leadership meeting, and it'll just be really awesome.
Another thing that might be really important for you and your leadership team is to have a separate meeting just to pray together. Oftentimes you spend so much time planning and talking and planning, but it's so special to be able to just have a time, even if it's just twice a semester, to get together and just pray together. I know through our time as being leaders, it was really important for us. We always picked like a really special, cute place and just got together and just worshiped the Lord together, and it really strengthened our team and really just changed our mindset and perspective on everything going on. So you don't want to miss that too. It's especially helpful if you are like having some trouble in your team or tensions or things. This is something you want to jump into right away.
So that's all we have for you in this video about leadership team meetings, but we will see you in our next video. Bye!